Look down at you on this thing. Which way do I have to look?
To look down at me.
Are you
Go on.
down here?
You're in like field of view. Yeah. If you just kind of look over your like looking over your shoulder, should be fine.
Fuck no.
How have you been, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, man.
Yeah.
You good? Yeah, good. All good. All good. All good.
How was Edinburgh?
Awesome.
You guys have just been down Edinburgh.
I want
haven't
to move. Yeah, I want to move there.
You want to move there?
I really want to move there.
What's so good about it?
Um. Well, this it's going to sound weird
Okay.
because it doesn't make any sense because they're on a hill and everything's a giant hill. But something's happened, like some kind of like initiative or something from the government, where they've decided to give all inaccessible places ramps. So like, you would think that England being flatter would be better for wheelchair access.
Okay.
You would think that would be the sensible thought train. But
It's not the case.
England's terrible. Yeah, like I lived in Leeds for a year and I could basically get in absolutely nowhere. But Edinburgh, like there's this little old pizza place with like a huge step outside, but the guy just had a metal ramp. Went to a board game cafe
Mm.
with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they had a giant step in as well, and they had the same metal ramp, and like it was just like it looked as if they've all just been given them. I'm sort of like, well, why can't that just happen in England? Like so many places that I'd like to go. Like,
Just make it easier.
yeah, well, what's the point? Like, also how wheelchair accessible a city is. It's almost when I think about it, it's reflective of a city, not of a business.
Mm.
So I would go like, I wouldn't say, oh, I don't go to Weatherspoons because it's a bad example because Weatherspoons are like super accessible. So it's a terrible example, but whatever. I don't go to Weatherspoons because Weatherspoons aren't accessible because I went to one in Leeds that I couldn't get in. I don't think that. I think like, oh, Leeds is inaccessible. Like I put it on the city, not on the business.
Mm.
Because it isn't, there's no correlation between like what place I'm at, what business I'm at, and whether it has access or not. It's just different in different cities. So it makes sense that the city would give out the ramps. The city would make the places accessible. Do you know what I mean? It would be great if all businesses did, but they don't. Like,
So to you,
and then you leave it.
So
Sorry.
to you, does that give off like a better? You think that what there are more caring?
Yeah, it's like it's like people care.
Mm.
It's just like people care. Well, I mean, they're under, I don't know, a more caring city council maybe. If it isn't, I don't know. I'm guessing here because it was the same ramps everywhere.
Did it make a big? Did you feel like it made a big difference? Get like what going around the city?
Yeah, huge. Because there was never the biggest issue that me and my wife or my family have when we're deciding somewhere to go is, will it have access?
Mm.
And like we always have to call ahead. There's no like spontaneity. There's no like, oh, feel like going here, let's just wing it and turn up. That doesn't exist. Like you have to make a call and be like, oh, do you have wheelchair access? And then they'll say yes, but then that's not true everywhere.
Mm. They just want to get you through the door, you mean?
Yeah, so they'll
like,
say
literally get you through the door.
Yeah, well that'd be great if they could actually get me through the door. That'd be perfect.
Mm.
But they say things like, oh yeah, we have access, it's great, it's fine, no problem, don't worry, turn up. And then you turn up and you're just like, how have you even managed to say yes with like a straight face?
Like,
when
what are you doing?
You presented me with like a giant curb, 3 steps, like nothing in the way of a ramp.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same. Like the house that we was looking at. I said to Leo, my partner, like I don't know.
She's your fiance, Scott?
Yeah, sure. I feel uncomfortable with saying that. It's so uncomfortable.
She's your fiance, mate.
Yeah, I put a ring on it. Yeah, like getting you through the door, I don't think it's gonna be too easy. It's like it's always a thing. It's like I don't know.
But what expectation? I wouldn't. When you're buying a house, it's really hard to expect that. You know, my brother's got a flat that I can't get into. My sister's got a flat that I can't get into. I mean, because good luck finding a flat that I can in like. I mean, Derby City Centre is not great. Edinburgh's not great. Like, sorry, flat wise, Edinburgh's great. business wise, but flat wise, it's not fantastic. Mainly because, I mean, I don't know what you've seen of Edinburgh, but most of the flats are in really old buildings.
Yeah.
The problem with old buildings is A, they're normally listed, so you can't make any adaptations, and B, there's not, like in a business, there's someone always there running the business that can come out with a ramp. In a flat, there's not always, it's people live there. There's not like a steward there waiting for me once a year to come up and see my sister with the ramp. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then even if she could get a ramp in, which obviously she would, she of course would, then because it's a listed building and it's so old, it's a twisted staircase up and there's no lift.
Yeah, no chance.
So like, flat wise, it's bad. House wise though, it's really good. There's some good bungalows there. There's some good spots to live. If you're looking at a house or renting a house or just not flats.
Okay. Well, I knew you genuinely thought about moving there, hadn't you? So. Yeah,
I still genuinely think I'm moving there, or just outside it. I would love to live in Scotland.
We'd have to do podcast chats as actual communication. We'd have long distance relationships.
Yeah, like the only time we spoke would have to be over podcasts.
It's got like that now, though, hasn't it? Like it feels like you're a million miles away.
I'm literally the same distance.
I know, it's weird though. I know it's because it's
because you work.
Way.
It's because you work in Derby, yeah. So it's the same distance. I'm not trying to give away where I live anyway.
just like
just the other way. It's Derby and it's the other way. That's all anyone's getting.
Fed me to the sharks. You live in Derby anyway.
You live in Derby. You work in Derby.
Cheers, mate.
It's all right.
How's streaming been?
Good.
So have you done much since you got back?
I've streamed once since I got back, or twice since I got back. Okay. It was going good before I went on holiday. It's doing a weird thing. It's just fun. It's just enjoyable. I took a lot of the pressure off it and started just being like, look, I'm just going to play what I'm going to have fun playing. I'm going to stream when I feel like streaming, when I'm comfortable to stream. Not going to set myself a schedule out the gate where I'm like, oh, I need to stream at this time every time. And then when something comes up in my life that I have to take care of, I'll be like, oh, no, I'm missing my stream. And then all of a sudden it becomes like a job, like a stressful thing. I don't want it to be that. I just want it to be enjoyable.
I think like that's become a thing with me. Like I'm finding whenever I do a video, I'm starting to get guilt if I don't do a video within a certain amount of time. It's kind of like, I think it takes away from some of the quality that you're given. You're just thinking about when to get that video out rather than how much quality.
You're going to force it. That's the problem. If you start to force it, I feel like you're in a bad spot already. Like you're setting yourself up to fail. If you're trying to force something out that you don't, like, say for you don't do a video in a while, so you do a video that you've maybe not thought the premise of all the way through, like, and so you half-ass it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's same like I'll jump on stream feeling like, oh, I should stream now, or I used to jump on stream thinking, oh, I really need to stream now.
But you do, and then I'll be growing. You need it, don't you, while you're growing? It's like
you do, but at the same time, I'm never gonna grow. So let's say this: I'm not gonna get any growth from a 3-hour stream where I look, sound, and I'm miserable. I'm better off not streaming. It's going to hurt me more than help me, because anybody that stops by during that stream is going to be like, oh, what am I looking at here? What's the point?
I hate that though. I hate that's how people judge content. Like, if I watch myself on screen, you're judged on like how much energy you're bringing across, and you're like, well, that it should be more about the content that you're watching. Do you know what I mean? If I'm actually talking and making sense, rather than if I'm happy, if I'm jumping all over camera, like.
Yeah. That to me depends. I think it depends on your audience too, and I think that, you know, we're both speaking from perspectives of people completely starting out. You know, I don't know what it's like to be 2 years deep into Twitch. I don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be 2 years deep into YouTube. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can only speak as perspectives as people starting out at this time. Like, a lot of the people who got successful from it started doing it when there wasn't a lot of people doing it, for example. So it's a different thing now, because when you look at it, we were at a friend's house last night, and he brought up the Destiny developers podcasting, and a lot of the questions they get asked is about starting up as a streamer, because like 3 of them are quite successful streamers.
Yeah.
And they were saying the second you start thinking about money, you've already set yourself up to fail. It's like, if money can't be your concern, you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I agree, but at the same time, the climate's different now. I feel like it's really hard now to be starting out as a streamer. And, you know, I'm not thinking like, oh my God, I need to make this my full-time job. I can't wait till I'm doing this 8 hours a day. I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm just enjoying the stream. But the thought of the fact that it is making people money is in my head still. You can't, once you know about it, you can't shake that. Do you know what I mean? If anyone said like, if anybody was streaming frequently and they said, oh, I've not even considered the money, I feel like you'd be lying, because there's no way you can not have it enter your mind at some point during starting up. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it worries me more than anything.
The money thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you're scared of growth.
I'm scared of growth that's out of control. So imagine like you drop a video and then you're expecting like, I don't know, at max maybe 100 views, and then it's like it's trending. You're like, that's just happened out of nothing. Like, I was here and then all of a sudden I'm somewhere else. It's the fact that can happen is scary to me.
Yeah. And I think that's fine. Being scared is good.
I mean, I've just flagged for monetization.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Enjoy the pennies rolling in.
Let the pennies roll. But I haven't flagged it. I haven't enabled
You've not done it yet?
No, because I want to... My channel's not anywhere near strong enough, I wouldn't say, to start thinking I can get money off this. Like, I wouldn't want to... I think the quality of my videos are decent, but I wouldn't want to say, hey, I want so much percentage off of each video. I think it holds you back. The quicker you enable it when you're not ready, I think it holds you back, because then people they're like tuning into your videos and having to watch ads, whereas at the moment it's just clean video. Like, you can literally just jump into a video and have fun watching one of my videos, whereas
they still get ads though.
I don't think it's as frequent as if you...
I thought they still got ads, and you just didn't get revenue from it.
No, I don't.
But that's fair.
I think they as soon as you're like monetized, it flags like third party ads or something, so they see more regular ads on your videos.
That's cool.
It's probably a bit like I mean, how did Twitch do it?
Well, Twitch played ads before you were like, I'm only an affiliate at the moment. I'm not a partner. So Twitch played ads before I was an affiliate, and they play the same amount of ads after I'm an affiliate. And as an affiliate, I don't get any ad revenue, so that has no effect. Like, the big difference on Twitch is that you get Twitch, obviously once you have affiliate status, you have a subscribe button, and that's pretty much the big difference. People can subscribe to you now, which, I mean, I guess you can choose not to. I guess you could choose not to have the subscribe button as well. But if there are certain people who are like looking to support you and want to and don't mind, you know, my viewer base at the moment is friends and family. Like, so they want to sub for the fun of like us all hanging out together and their name popping up on the screen and me being like, "Oh, you idiot! Thank you." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so that's like an enjoyable thing. But then, as the viewer base grows, like, I guess no one's going to look at it and be like, "Oh, he has a subscribe button. I'm leaving." I don't think it's like that. They'll either click it or they won't, and better it there than not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean with Twitch,
But again,
you have the option of, so you're taking would you say it's a cleaner way of earning money from the subscribe button to a donation page. So how do you feel about that in terms of people donating over subscribing?
honestly, I don't think I have a preference on how someone else chooses to spend their money if they're spending it on me, if they're investing in me with it. Because that's what essentially it is. You're saying, I like what you're doing enough to give you money for it.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's a lot, it's the same sentiment. And it's like, I want to support you in doing what you're doing because I'm enjoying it. So if they want, if the viewer, the fan wants to subscribe for that, then that's great. And you get your, you'll get your little benefits for it. You get the badge or the emote, or do you know what I mean? But then if you donate, if you donate, then, I mean, I guess if you were going to donate less than £5 would be the answer, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or like much over £5, then that would be it, because the sub costs £5. I don't know how else. It's just completely up to the viewer. Like, if you do, they can do what they want. Do you know what I mean?
There's a similarity with the trending thing that I mentioned there. I mean, someone could just cross over your channel and just drop a fortune on you.
Yeah, they can.
So that kind of aspect to it. How do you think you deal with that? Because that's like them saying, well, I think your content's worth this much. Do you know what I mean? Whereas your subscription button, that's kind of like you're building your fan base, aren't you?
Yeah. So okay. So a donation. Obviously, donations are the big reaction thing on streams. You know what I mean? People drop like some prince from Dubai will drop 10 grand on somebody, and then like that clip's gonna go, not viral, but it's gonna go like within the community. It's gonna be a popular clip of someone going ballistic because they just got 10 grand dropped on them. I worry about that.
Yeah.
That would never happen at the stage I'm at now.
But you don't know, do you?
Well, you don't know, but it wouldn't happen at the stage I'm at now. But I would have two concerns with that. So the first concern, if someone did it, let's say now, right? My first concern, immediately, I'd be skeptical.
Yeah.
Straight away. And it might hurt me, actually, that I wouldn't be that guy. Like, you see some streamers and like someone drops 10 grand on them and they cry.
Yeah.
And I would probably want to cry. I'd be like, damn. But
I was gonna say,
I think I would be skeptical first, because that would scare me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why has that happened? Why have you done that? For what purpose? Like, what have I provided that's worth that to you at this stage? And like, who are you, sort of thing? Do you know what I mean?
That would be my keeping your cool if someone drops 100k on you. It's like.
But that's what I mean. I wouldn't keep my cool, but I wouldn't think it was staying. There's so many things like chargebacks, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like fake donations and stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't believe it is the problem. Like, my first reaction would be skeptical.
Yeah.
I straight away I'd question it, and I think if it happened, that would probably hurt me. But at the same time, so be it, because I don't know, it would scare me too much to react as if I'd just been given 100 grand, no questions asked.
Well, no matter what, it'd be good content on your stream, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be good content. It would be good content. I don't really worry about someone coming around and dropping 100 grand on me, because I really don't think that's likely to happen. And I'm definitely not just sat here essentially mining Twitch like, just keep going and someone's going to drop 10 grand. If I just keep hammering, someone's going to drop 10 G's on me. I'm not thinking like that. I think right now it's still super unlikely, but a more likely thing is that someone raids you as part of their stream. You would get raided with like 5,000 viewers, because they go find a small stream, just to raid it before they log off. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, what is that, trolling, or is that just a way of supporting a smaller streamer?
No, it's like supporting. It's like supporting. It's fun. Do you know what I mean? You get exposure on the video of them doing it, which there will be one. Like you get exposed to 5,000 people, and I mean, I think that would be a bit different. That would probably be fun. Like that would be like you'd just be humble. You'd say thank you. You'd find the meme in it and carry on streaming. I think, or well, you'd stop what you were doing for a minute.
So that's like somebody like somebody with like a Swedish person, say, with a lot of views on Twitch, sending all of his community over. That'd be
He does that. He does that. He has done that in the past.
Yeah.
Things like that are fun. Like that side of Twitch, I think, is enjoyable. Like you got to be able to see how fun that is. But that's not somebody dropping real world currency on you in obscene amounts. It's a much different thing. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very different.
Yeah, it's nice of that to happen. That's a good scenario.
Yeah, well, the money. That's what I'm saying. The money would be scary to me, but a raid, I think, would be enjoyable. Would be fun.
What do you think about like how your channel is building? So, I mean, I see a lot of you mentioned Anna. I see a lot of streamers have like couple streams. Do you think that's something that you do? I know she's featured on your channel.
Yeah, totally. So, like the difficult thing with like me and Anna, it's not difficult because we play games. That's what we do together anyway. So, like, I don't think it would be hard to do a duo stream. It's more just a case of,
do you want to?
Not even that. We're not normally playing something cooperative. Like we are because we're playing team games, but we'll play like League of Legends or we'll play Counter-Strike or Overwatch or whatever, The Division or whatever we're playing at the time. And it's fine because you're both playing the game. But then it's like, do we need to both put cams up on the stream? Do we need to both stream to 2 different channels? She just likes playing. Do you know what I mean? Anna's got no like goal to be a streamer.
Yeah. I mean,
so she's not she's comes in, she's tired from work and stuff. Like my webcam's never pointing at both of us. She wants to relax.
Yeah. I mean, the formulas that people use to become big, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Like they think, I've seen this streamer do this, so we'll follow suit.
Yeah, I think we would do things like maybe like a single player game, a playthrough. She likes to watch me play a game. So like when I eventually get around to starting The Witcher, it's likely that we would do like a duo stream there where I'm playing and she's watching, and it would be like a podcast.
Yeah,
it'd be like a I mean not like a let's play really, because I don't think I'm geared for that. Like a let's play, you have to go a bit crazy for everything that's happening in the game.
Did you watch the Witcher review that I did?
Oh no, not yet. I didn't.
No,
I didn't get to watch it yet.
I know, like you're tinkering around.
I will, man.
You want to get into it, don't you?
Putting me on blast on the podcast.
I am, yeah.
I'm not supporting.
Support your man.
That's how you watch my stream, bro. No, I'm playing.
You've not been streaming, have you? You've been streaming. I caught one like didn't you? You went on for a bit, didn't you, the other day?
Streamed for a little while.
I caught your feed.
Playing a bit of Fortnite.
I was just about to say, like, I know you've been playing PUBG, haven't you?
Bit of PUBG, bit of Fortnite.
But a lot of, I don't know if they've stolen some of their community, because I've seen a lot of streamers are migrating over to Fortnite from PUBG.
It's sort of Fortnite's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's the game mode. It's the same game mode as PUBG. Battle Royale. But Fortnite's just a bit more fun. It's stylistic. It's got building. It's faster games.
So what are the differences? Because it's a survival game, isn't it? Just the same as a round-based survival game.
Yeah, but they're pretty much the differences. It's stylistic instead of being realistic. It's got building, which PUBG doesn't. The games are faster.
There's mechanics in the game that's extra though, isn't there? So you can build. I've seen where you can build models, can't you? Strategic structures.
Yeah, well, you build like it turned into just ramping. Like people just ramp.
Yeah.
Like so, you just build ramps. It's like a block. And the good thing about a ramp is that you can duck up and down it, obviously, and like bob and weave your head.
It's
sloped.
It's an extra bit of strategic play that I like though about the game.
I like it too. It's fun, but I'm finding it hard to get used to it because it's not in my muscle memory yet to just pop out the tool and start building. Like it's.
I know
with games, it's like you need to be in. You need something you can do in the game to be in your arsenal, and like I'm not there with it yet at all. So like it's a tough one.
You can delete, can't you, as well while you're playing?
Yeah.
So like if someone's ducking cover, it's not necessarily a safe cover.
No, you can blow it up. If you're fighting somebody, you can shoot the cover out. It's fun. The game is fun. I'm smiling now thinking about it, but it's fun. Like, I just don't know if it's more fun than PUBG because I like how tense PUBG can get. Whereas I've not found a way on Fortnite yet for me to feel like, oh, I really need to clutch this out. Do you know what I mean? Like on PUBG, I feel pressure to play well.
Yeah.
And on Fortnite, like I don't. On Fortnite, I just go on and I sort of mess around, which is fun too. Like it's fun to play a game with no pressure. But it's
maybe it's something to do with the game parameters, like because there's a very set way of playing PUBG. Maybe you feel like there's more pressure on it because there's more. I don't know. It feels like a more serious shooter, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's the nature of it being realistic. It's always going to feel that way. Like, it's hard for a game that's super realistic to feel like it's meant to be just a bit of like arcade style fun. Whereas a stylistic game like Fortnite, like it feels arcadey when you're playing it. Do you know what I mean? The recoil on the weapons isn't like super punishing, and the movement's like enjoyable. Just really bright colors. Everything's out of proportion. Like it's super stylistic. Do you know what I mean? It's like playing a comic book. So it's hard for me to sit in that game and be like, oh, I really need to try hard now. Like I super want to get my rank up, and I don't feel that way.
It's interesting because you've come from like your background is Counter-Strike, isn't it? So
that's been my main game for the most part, yeah.
So going from so you've played at the top levels, haven't you? So from
played at quite a high level, yeah. Well, global's the top rank. Obviously, there's points above that where pros are like off the chain, like they're crazy, and there's some people would say global elite on Counter-Strike is sort of like it's just Step a token that says you've got the base understanding of everything about the game, so it's like having a full set of foundations, and then you go above and beyond that, And I played at different levels. In 1.6, I played at a high level for a while, and played ladders and stuff.
How do you think it is moving across from that game to, say, PUBG? Do you think it gives you an advantage because tactical play?
It's really hard to say. The only advantage that it definitely gives you probably is aim. Like you see a lot of players that just they can't aim, but then they might still win because they might just outposition you, or sometimes it's a disadvantage because whereas on Counter-Strike there's no bullet drop. So when you for example, if I'm sniping on Counter-Strike, wherever I'm aiming, my bullet's hitting.
Okay.
Whereas on PUBG, obviously you've seen with sniper rifles, you can't just aim at the head from whatever range and the bullet will hit the head. It's not like that. You have to aim above them and in front of them, so because there's bullet drop and there's travel time. So nothing from sniping really carries over. But if I'm using an assault rifle or something, the aim's massively helpful.
I like that you have to learn the patterns for your crosshair for certain guns. Is that an aspect that's from Counter-Strike as well?
Yeah, recoil control is a big thing in Counter-Strike. So you need to be, you spend hours and hours and hours deathmatching.
It's learning spray patterns as well, though, isn't it? That's part.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The reason that you spend all those hours deathmatching is because you want to shoot the gun as much as possible. You get a feel for it. You want to know where the bullets are going. And it's a bit. I don't think that PUBG has set patterns.
Oh, right.
So it's a bit different. I mean, you know sort of with each gun what's going to happen. But on Counter-Strike, every gun's pattern is fixed. The AK is going to shoot the bullets in the same place every time, so you can learn it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas on it's completely learnable and completely achievable to have, like, you know, almost the entire clip of the AK accurate. Whereas on PUBG, you know, you're never going to learn all of it. I don't think. It might have fixed patterns. I really don't know. I've not looked that in depth at it, to be honest.
I remember you talking about how there's like a meta for guns. Do you think that's applicable for PUBG? So do you think that certain gun types have an advantage, or do you think it's purely how good a player is with that gun?
This is one of the things I think doesn't get spoken about much, and I think it's probably quite a large part of the appeal of PUBG. So there's lots of gun choices in PUBG. There's lots of gun choices in Counter-Strike, but there's a meta in Counter-Strike where you're going to pick the guns that are the strongest for the particular part of the game you're at. We don't need to get into a breakdown of what Counter-Strike's economy system is and stuff to talk about when you should buy what. But let's say that at different rounds, based on the money that you have, you go for different weapons because of risk and reward and likeliness to win the round, etc. Whereas in PUBG, obviously, first off, you get what you find. So you might not find the gun you want all the time. So you're going to have to eventually be sort of okay with everything. But more importantly, because of how open it is and how massive it is, and some people like to play up mountains with sniper rifles, some people like to rush in buildings with assault rifles, some people like to fight mid-range with 4x scopes, some people like to fight close range with red dot sights. And you can put all these different attachments on all the different guns and and the combinations are sort of endless. That you can find weapons and a loadout, I guess, in PUBG that suits your play style, and you can play with that every time you find it without thinking like, oh, this isn't really the meta gun, I shouldn't really take this. Like, it doesn't matter. If that's what you do well with and that's what you enjoy playing with, then you can sort of adapt your play style most of the time to find a certain level of success with those weapons. But I mean, it's still going to come down to an end zone, though. And in that end zone, some guns are probably going to perform better than others. So you're not going to have as fun playing in like the final circle, or like one of the final circles, with a Kar 98 that's a bolt action sniper rifle that has an 8x scope on it, because you're going to be way too scoped in for the distance the person is from you. So you're going to want something else in that scenario too. Most likely you're going to want an AR. I think a lot of people try and get some kind of sniper rifle and some kind of assault rifle and play with those weapons just because it gives you the most versatility and the most options.
So that's part of the build feature, isn't it? So when you're looting in the start of the game, you're trying to find those two aspects so that you have something for the end and something while you're picking people off.
Yeah. So like that's what I go for. I will try and find a sniper rifle and I will try and find an assault rifle as soon as possible. They're the two things I'm going for. And I think most people are going for those two things, like I say. But like I also have a friend who loves to play with an ump with full attachments. I mean, I don't mind the ump with full attachments either, but an ump that's fully kitted and, you know, any other gun, like, and that's just what he likes to play with.
Do you think like a layman coming, because obviously I'm not a big shooter fan, so a layman coming into playing PUBG, do you think that things like that are obvious? Do you think that's experience that learns you that?
Yeah, so experience is going to teach you everything in any game, really. Like, there's no, you know, I mean, we've not really got into you here much. It seems to have been a lot on me. But
you're the guest,
which is fine because I'm the guest, I guess. Yeah, guest, I guess. But like, it's just you know yourself with Hearthstone. Like, it's just been your game for the longest time.
So that's my background for everybody. I'm a Hearthstone player.
So, you know from Hearthstone that you learn from playing and you learn from losing. You learn a lot from losing.
Yeah, you learn more when you lose than when you win, for
Yeah.
sure.
In everything in life as well.
Yeah.
Get motivational on everybody for a moment there. But yeah, overcome adversity, people.
The stuff
But
with PUBG, do you think that they give people a good enough? Do you think it's up to the player to learn that, or do you think that they deserve a better background? Because, like I said, if I just jumped straight into the game, I wouldn't know that, and so that's a
get it fast, because it'd take you a couple of games to figure out that everybody is using assault rifles and sniper rifles. It's really weird now. Twice I've accidentally contradicted myself on your podcast, and it's irritated me. And I want to revisit them both quickly and nip them in the bud, because I think I'm not giving my perspective clearly.
Okay.
So I think that the reason PUBG is appealing is that there's so many options of guns, and you can suit pretty much any build to your play style and find how you want to play, right? Some people play double snipers, some people play with a shotgun and an ump, some people play with an assault rifle and a sniper, some people play with 2 assault rifles. Yeah?
Yeah.
If you start really being focused on winning more than just enjoying the game, you're going to fall towards a sort of meta. The same as in any game when you start playing it competitively. So that's when I start talking about everybody's using assault rifles and sniper rifles. I'm not talking about your entry point to the game. I'm talking about what's happening. The more and more that you play, the more and more you start to see this pattern emerge. But what makes it appealing is still the options that you have. And the other time that I contradicted myself was about Edinburgh, when I said it has bad access for flats after saying it had great disabled access. I meant the city has great disabled access, but the living does not in the city flats.
Do you think that the set pattern of playing for PUBG is the way that the game will always unfold, or do you think that do you think that some people will think, well, I'm going to play it different this time, and I'm gonna stick around in buildings and not care about snipers. I'm gonna hold up in buildings. And
that's how Anna likes to play.
And
that's what Anna likes to do. Anna likes to hide in a corner of a building, watching the door until like the end of the game. And I like to chase shots. If I hear someone fighting, I like to go see what's up. Like, I'll go run up, see where I can see the fight, see if I can see someone that I can fight, see if I can see 2 people that I can watch, maybe one I can stalk.
Do you think that's because you trust your aim, your shot more than
I don't know why though. I get stuffed all the time. I'm too aggressive by far on that game. Way too aggressive. The number one thing on that game is like, you should look at every fight and just be like, should I fight this? Do I need to fight this? Like, is the reward for killing that player worth me giving away my position?
How big
That's
do you
the
think?
whole game.
So I've watched your stream, and I've watched you say, how do people, like, you play in the game and you hear a shot and you don't know where the direction the shots come from. You have a gist.
Shameful. As a Counter-Strike player, it's just shameful that I can't identify where shots are coming from.
Have I called you out?
Yeah, it's absolutely shameful. Sounds such a big part of CS. And in CS, if I hear someone stepping, I'm like, oh, they're there. Like, straight away, they're there. And then for some reason on PUBG, I'll hear someone shoot. And if I watch, there are certain streamers that I watch, and they'll look straight at that person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do that. And this is why a lot of people who don't understand what it's like when you're not even at a really high level. I don't want to come off like I'm better than I am at anything. Like, but when you're at like a decent base level, like of relatively high skill, I guess, compared to the majority at least, you can understand how things happen, and you don't need to think that there's some kind of exterior third-party thing at play. I think a lot of people get hacks called on them on PUBG, completely unjustified, especially streamers, because their viewer base, they're the 90% that are average or below. A lot of the high-end popular streamers anyway. Their viewership is literally 90% of them will be just average or below. And so they see them doing these crazy things, and they don't get it because it's not in their arsenal to do that. So they're like, how could you do that without a third-party program helping you? And so they want to call hacks on it, and it's super unjustified. If you learn where sound comes from and how a sound's going to sound how it sounds. Hate, what a bad sentence. It's going to sound the way that it does.
Sounds
every
like
single. I know
it's going to sound like it sounds like.
It's gonna sound the way that it does from that position at that distance every single time. So it's just a matter of learning that.
Do you think it's to do with your equipment that you have though?
I mean, definitely there's bad headphones. There's for sure bad headphones. But that's not my problem. I have really good headphones.
Do you so?
I'm not going to plug them because they don't sponsor me.
But you're not going to plug them?
No.
Messing
they don't
around,
sponsor. I'm not plugging anything that doesn't sponsor.
Messing around with audio and stuff then?
I'm playing. I have Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to come off like I'm just out for the cash. It's not that. I'm just playing.
But you don't know if they're doing a good job, right? Because you don't know.
They're doing a good job. They're doing a good job on Counter-Strike.
Okay, so you think it's down to you then when you play PUBG?
Yeah, I just don't know the patterns. I just don't know the audio, like the cues, the audio signals. That's it. I just don't know them.
Okay.
So I know like, oh, there's a shot that way, but then I'll go there and they'll shoot again, and I'll be like, still can't see it or tell where it's from.
Maybe it's with a silencer on a sniper.
No, it's not.
That's why you're struggling.
Thanks though for the cop out, but it's not that. I just need to learn it. If I care that much. I don't know if I'm enjoying PUBG enough to go that deep in. Do you know what I mean?
What games do you? So you play League a lot, don't you? So do you prefer League? Do you think?
No, I don't prefer League. I sort of play League as a habit now. Like Anna really likes it, so I like to play it with her. Mostly if there's 3 of us, so we can play flex, or 5 of us, so we can play flex. I'm not a big fan of solo duo queuing, and I'm not a big fan of playing drafts, which you would have to do if you didn't have 3 or 5. So I'll play League if there's like friends on to play with and stuff. But like for me, I could take it or leave it.
Is League kind of is that kind of set now? Do you think the way that people play League is done with, or do you think that there's, because obviously with Hearthstone there's meta changes that change the gameplay, but fundamentals of the games are not going to change? Do you think that's the same?
Well, it's the same thing in League, that you're always going to have the way to win. The route to win in League is to kill the enemy nexus. That's it. So you're always going to have that method to win. You're going to have to go through each tower. You're going to have to go through the inhibitor. You're going to have to go through the nexus. And to do that, you're going to have to go through the enemy team. And to do that, you're going to have to get enough money. And to do that, you're going to have to kill enough creep. And to kill enough creep, you're going to have to win your lane. And so you're going to need to pick a champion that wins its lane. And it's sort of like, it's never going to... That's no disrespect to really good League players, because that is by far the most boiled down rundown of how to win a game of League you'll ever hear. There's a lot. That game has a high skill ceiling. Really, really, really high. Insanely high.
The champions aspect affects it, doesn't it?
Well, this is what I was going to say. That's the only thing that changes. So that's where your meta shift happens. And with your meta shift comes... Your meta in League is based on... And it's the same way that in PUBG, the meta would change if they nerfed and buffed a gun. So if they made the Mini 14, which is a semi-auto sniper, really, 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 really shit, and they made the SKS, which is another semi-auto sniper, really, 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 really good, then you would take the SKS over the Mini 14, and vice versa if they did it the other way around. It's the same in League of Legends, where if they nerf a champion and they buff another one, then that one's going to get played in LCS or in esports. Do you know what I mean? And then when it gets played in LCS and esports, it's going to get played in solo queue, and that's because it's stronger at that time.
Do you think that the very top level League players, it wouldn't matter? So if a meta changed and one champion became better than another champion, but they do similar jobs, do you think that hours of playtime with a certain champion would mean that player could make up for that meta change, or do you think
players have struggled with it?
Because I know
players have struggled. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry, buddy.
No. Go carry on. I thought that was your question. Sorry. Finish what you're saying.
I know that when I play Hearthstone, if there's a big meta shift or if there is a nerf to a deck, but the deck's still viable to play, sometimes I'll still pick up that deck just because I know that I have countless hours with that deck, so I know that I might be able to make a difference in play, and I might make a smarter decision over somebody who's just playing the top deck. Do you think that's the same kind of thing for League?
Yeah. So in League, I mean, it's weirder in League because in Hearthstone you can't ban a deck, so you know you're going to face that deck.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. But in League, you could choose in solo queue to ban that one champion that you don't want to fight every single time. And you could never fight them for the whole season if you didn't want to. You could just ban them forever. But in doing that, you're going to let other things through, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that any pro player, more or less, will be fine when a meta shift happens. They have so much time to play the game, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, that they can pick up a champion pretty fast. But there has been problems before with it. There has been players that had a real bad time.
Not calling anybody out.
Well, it wouldn't be calling anyone out because I don't think it's a secret. Like, it's not like you can't. Well, we're talking openly. It's just a podcast, right? It's fun. So, I mean, there was a jungler. In case I've got the wrong jungler, because I don't follow League Esports anymore, really. I'll not say a name. But there was a jungler who was like he was really good with Lee Sin. He's just one champion. He was really good with him, and he was decent with Jarvan. But he couldn't really play any other jungler. Oh, he was decent with Gragas as well. But he couldn't really play any other jungler. So what would happen is, if the team they were against banned Lee Sin, picked Gragas or Jarvan, and banned whatever one's left of them two, he would try to pick whatever the next meta strong champion is.
Okay.
But he'd be super inefficient with it and not really be able to get anything done. And it was noticeable in the game you were watching it. Like, he doesn't really know where he's not got his feet on the ground with this champion. And it would affect the game. Like, so you do see it in League where sometimes the meta shifts in such a way that someone's pool, which is like what you would call their champion pool, like who they're good with, can just get, removed from a game, and then they can have a real bad time.
And why do you think that? Is that just because he wasn't playing as many hours as he should with junglers, or
he should have played with other champions? Yeah, he should have just learned other champions. He should have just. That's on the player to then, I think, step out of their comfort zone. It's like whenever I've been playing CS with people and they've been trying to get better, they'll say things like, we'll be playing a bomb site and they'll go, we're jumping around games a lot. Is that okay? That's fine, isn't it?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It doesn't matter that we're jumping around games, does it?
No, not really.
So, I mean, all the principles remain pretty much the same throughout.
I think we're jumping because a lot of, like you said, the principles are crossover talk. So
Yeah, they do for sure. So, what I was going to say was, in CS, you'll hear somebody say something like, "Oh, I want to go B because I want to go B because I'm not very good on A on whatever map." And then there'll be maybe a pre-made who's playing the game, who's really good at playing B together, and that's what they do. And they queue into games, and they always play this map, and they always play B, and they're fine. And they'll go, "Oh, I'm with my pre-made. Can we go B? Because that'll be a two-man site, so that'll make sense, right?" Mm-hmm. And then the other player's so not confident in their ability to play A that they will just go B with them.
Yeah.
and it like that's fine. Some rounds you can do a stack, you can change things around, you can swap stuff around. It's cool, it's whatever. But most of the time, for example, you're gonna want that player to be on a different bomb site or a different part of the map for whatever reason. So by sending 3 over there, you've only got 5 people on the team, so you're making the other side of the map weak. Because there should really be 3 people there because it's the wider side of the map. It's more open. There's more entry points. Whatever you want to, whatever reason. And then they'll hurt the whole game just because they're scared to play a role they've never played. And that to me is just you're never going to improve because you really have to take yourself outside of your comfort zone, and you really have to be willing to be like, okay, I'm strong on B and I want to play to my strengths. Which is, I broke this all down when we were doing that site. I broke this all down in an article, which we never got posted. But you want to play towards your strengths, absolutely, because you want to win and you want to rank up, of course. But don't potentially throw the whole game down the toilet because you're not willing to take a chance in another spot. Like you're only going to learn it by playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be like, CS can be quite a toxic environment as well. And I understand that, I've lost it with teammates. Teammates have lost it with me. And for me, I don't really mind the toxicity because I think it's a big part of the growing process. It's the same as raiding on WoW. As a raid leader shouts at you when you mess up. And you feel like, oh my God, like I don't want to mess up again. I don't want to be shouted at by this dude. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of rough, isn't it? Because if you're trying to learn all aspects of the game, it's not the only way to learn is, like you said, in defeat or experience in the game. Yeah,
but this is the problem. Go. If those 2 want to go B, let's keep on the same example. If those 2 want to go B, let them go B, and you play A, and you say, "Look, guys, I'm not very good at A. I don't normally play it, but I'll do my best."
Yeah.
And if you've said that in the game, then that's fine. If you lose your spot, that's cool. I'll go out of my way to cover you and help you and sort you out. And if I see something alarming that you're doing that's like, you definitely shouldn't be doing that. The same way if I'm doing something somewhere that I definitely shouldn't be doing, someone will be like, why are you doing that? I'll be like, oh, that's a good point. Why am I doing that? Like, I'll do that to them. The problem seems to be that people are super easy to offend.
Yeah.
And so they won't say, they'll normally just go B anyway. And potentially throw the game out the window. If they do go to A, they won't say, look, guys, I'm not very good at A. So, any helps? Brilliant. Please help.
What? So you see people wandering off to the zone they are comfortable with?
Yeah.
Really?
And
just abandoning?
Yeah. They'd rather do that. And this is what I'm saying. They'd rather do that than learn the new spot. And so the whole team becomes weaker because of it. And then even if they do go to the new spot, if you try to give them advice, you better be ready for a fight. Because if you try to tell somebody they're doing something wrong on an online game, they're going to label you as toxic and then start shouting at you about it. And in doing so are going to be toxic. And it's like just a horrible circle, like BS
CS,
in competitive games.
For CS, do they get to your rank when...
No.
You're in game. See,
you're pretty much all at the same. It depends what you're playing on. If you're playing on ESEA, it can be different. If you're playing on Face It can be different. If you're playing on matchmaking, matchmaking can be the worst out of all of it, to be honest.
A smarter way to do it would be to have a rank system where it shows the player's rank. So if you did that, then if you gave somebody flack for a mistake that they made, then
that doesn't work though.
I think what it is with people is they quite rightly can think to themselves, well, what do you know more than me? Do you know what I mean? Like you calling me out because I made a mistake there, but like, what do you know more than me? And I think that's a big thing where when you set, like you said before, there's toxic communities, it almost gets, you've got your back up before you even pick the game up, because when you play a game, you fight with people that think they know more than you anyway.
Yeah.
So when I suggest like a rank system where you can see, then maybe you don't feel it as much. Because I know when I first started playing Hearthstone, if I played a legend player, and they outsmarted me, I'd be like, well, you know, that's hours that they've played. If they were calling me out, I would take that as constructive criticism.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time on CS, the problem in matchmaking obviously is that you're all probably around the same rank because it's match made. So you're all probably at the same point. So it's really hard to give advice to somebody. Everybody thinks that they're the best player in the game on CS, like, and if it's a scoreboard hierarchy sort of a thing. So if somebody is bottom on the team, they won't be saying anything and they won't be arguing. But then if they have a couple of good rounds and they become the top player on the team, on the scoreboard, I mean, which for anybody that's at a decent level on Counter-Strike, you know, the scoreboard really doesn't mean that much.
Yeah.
It just means who's getting the most frags. But frag volume compared to frag value is not like it's not comparable.
I mean, for a tactical game of CS, I'm guessing you have kind of a fall guy anyway, that somebody goes and scouts where the team's position is, so they're likely to die anyway in rounds, aren't they? So
you have people that play aggressively, but I mean, not you all get info as a team. You don't need, because sounds the main element for info, gaining info. So like, you don't need to sacrifice anybody really. Every player should have their role in the round. Sometimes you got your entry man who might, like, you know, he might enter and die, but his job's still to kill someone.
Yeah.
But like, the main thing with like the score, people seem to think then they can pipe up if they've got like a high score on Counter-Strike. And I think that the game, like, that's a bad thing. If it was up to me, you'd remove the scoreboard from the game entirely.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be there, because if somebody pushes into a bad position every round to get an early frag, and then they get the frag every round, but then they get killed straight away too.
Yeah.
They've gone 1-1. So in 10 rounds, they're 10-10. And every single round, our bomb site's been weak.
Yeah.
So then the next round, they go and die, and they go 11-11. And we've at this point lost 10 rounds, but we need 5 rounds back at least for that half to get 10-5 and have a shot of coming back in the second half, say. So then one guy on the bomb site that's been left open, when they're entering, kills the remaining 4 of the enemy team. His 4 frags to get us that round, to bring us some money back and give us a chance of coming back into the game, are more valuable than the first guy's 10 kills. Because he's gone 10-10 and or 11-11 and done nothing for anyone. All he's done is open a bomb site up and make it easier for terrorists to push in and take it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the scoreboard, he's above the guy who's got the 4 kills.
Yeah.
He's higher. So he's talking shit. And he thinks he's the dogs, when in reality, he's not actually, he's a detriment to the game, not a benefit. So I think the scoreboard, it really hurts the team play of Counter-Strike a lot.
It matters more in a deathmatch, doesn't it? When it's a team, it should be more about whether the team's winning the rounds. Well,
the only place score matters is a duel.
Yeah. On
Quake or something. That's the only place score really matters. I don't think it even matters in, I might be wrong, I don't think it even matters in Call of Duty, because I think that's search and destroy, so that's plant and defuse as well, same as Counter-Strike is. It's about the rounds, it's not about the kills.
Do you have death matches, team death matches for Counter-Strike, or is it only capture the flag?
No, it's not capture the flag, it's search, plant and defuse. Yeah. Where you plant a bomb and defuse it.
But I mean, can you have like rounds where it's like deathmatch, where it's like 5v5, and then?
Oh, just TDM.
Yeah.
No, not really. You can play like you can play deathmatch, and you can go in, and it's basically the one that Valve has set up is Team Deathmatch, but that's some 64-tick crap.
What, nobody plays it?
Well, people play it, but it's just not that good because you can only shoot the enemy team, and the only reason to deathmatch is to improve your aim or your gun control, or your muscle memory. So you want to play where you can shoot everyone. You don't want to be looking for the enemy team all the time. You want to just be able to shoot everyone you see. So you want to go into a community server and play a proper deathmatch.
So the esports value for Counter-Strike is the team matches, or is it? Is the death?
No. It's just the plant and defuse. That's it. Yeah, it's only the 5v5 plant and defuse. That's the only competitive game mode.
That seems odd, doesn't it? Because you could have like different matchups for Counter-Strike. That'd be a more varied game.
You could, but then, and I've had this conversation a few times, especially in the realm of like Quake, because in Quake, you had esports for Duel, which was the biggest one, the 1v1 mode, but then you also had tournaments for Clan Arena, which was like 4v4. And my argument is this, like, there's only one game of football. You know, there's only, or for our Americans who won't be watching, only one soccer. There's only one.
I get 22% of the channel from America, mate.
Nice, well, there you go. I've included them.
So
there's only one game of football or soccer.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have another version where there's 4 nets and 4 teams. So it's the same thing. There's just the one game of Counter-Strike. Everything else is like a bonus or a different way to play or just a way to break up the pace a bit for the players. There's only one real way to play that game. Do you know what I mean?
That seems a shame, though.
I don't think so, because I think the problem, you can never balance the game around everything. So you have to balance the game around the one objective and the one way to play to make that as perfect as possible. Because all of a sudden, if you like, okay, for example, if you did the deathmatch thing you were talking about and it was based on kills, it'd be really, really unfair towards terrorists because your smokes and your flashes wouldn't really matter because it'd just be about killing people. It wouldn't be about like a strat to push in. So there wouldn't be any like big plays. It'd just be everyone running around, spawning and killing. So the best gun to do that with would be the AK because it's a one-shot headshot and it's an assault rifle.
But you could have rounds where so many people started with AKs. And then you had a majority kill at the end. And whoever had the majority kill won the most amount of rounds.
I mean, make another deathmatch game. Like, it's not Counter-Strike. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing Counter-Strike about it. That's just some deathmatch mode.
So, because it's Counter-Strike, it literally in the title, you don't think they should add that kind of a mode?
No, it's casual. You know, you could never just crown one person like king of the deathmatch and that'd be it. It's just weird. Deathmatches can swing either way as well. Like, you know, it's nothing esports wise as nearly as entertaining as watching two teams face off, strategies against strategies, tactic against tactic, star player against star player. You know, map picks, like, and watching them go for a best of 5 that goes to overtime, and like you won't ever get that in like a deathmatch. It'll just be one and done, and that'll be the end of it.
I'm guessing it's probably because aspects of team play are already involved in the plant and diffuse system, because you have rounds where the majority of the team die before the fuse has been deactivated, don't you? So I guess they already have those team aspects covered. Whereas in a straight up deathmatch, it's just literally who the majority of one team who survives longer. It's like so for PUBG, I quite like that, how it's deathmatch orientated. So it's like last man standing. That's why I brought it up, because I like that part of PUBG where you can. There's lots of teams and they can. Like strong teams that team aspect can win you the round. You know, it can win you the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that about Fortnite and about PUBG.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the big appeals, for sure. Squads being like, oh look, you know, if we can play good as a team for this one amount of time, we can win. Whereas on CS, you need to play good as a team with a reset every round for, 30 rounds, and It's a different game. I think they're very different games, but I think that if you're gonna look at esports, like you need to look at it like real sports. There isn't two versions of hockey. There's not two versions of soccer. There's not two versions of football. Not two versions of NFL, of basketball. There's not two versions of anything. Do you know what I mean? Except for obviously rugby, but that's a
I mean, you do kind
whole
of
different
football.
thing.
There's like there's like 5-a-side, so you can mess around with the.
I guess
rules.
yeah, but no one's winning the five-a-side Premier League and no one's winning the five-a-side FA Cup, are they? That's what I mean. Like you can go online and you can play 2v2 Counter Strike, and you can play in tournaments for 2v2 Counter Strike. You can, but you never go into the FA Cup.
So for a richer
esports major,
a richer esports premise for you is having a Premier League in one rule set.
I just think that the game should be one rule set, and that should be the game. That's what everyone should work towards. The game's designed the way it's designed for a reason, and it's balanced around that. So anything you add that's not a part of that base is going to swing that out of balance.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary. It only needs to be what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Anna's going to be back in like 2 minutes, by the way.
That's fine. Yeah. So. Variation in games. I understand what you're saying.
Sure, game modes, but not competitively. That's all I mean. For sure, have multiple game modes. Definitely have different ways to play the game. You got to break up the pace, but just not competitively. There's no need. Like there only needs to be one competitive mode.
So obviously, because I come from Hearthstone as predominant game, I think back to that game constantly while you're talking.
Yeah,
I would say that the comparison to that is, say, arena and like constructed play.
Yeah, and you don't win BlizzCon with arena, do you?
No. So that format is, they've tried to push that format, but it's not ever taken off as much as constructed.
No, and it won't. It just won't, because people don't want, especially that game. That game's already random enough. You don't need to add like random deck choice to it. I mean, I know I've been screwed in arena when I've been making a deck and I'm like, what are these cards?
Yeah.
But and imagine going to a tournament. Imagine that you play that game 14 hours a day and you go to your local LAN, you go to your regionals, you go to your country's qualifiers, you make it through the groups, you make it through the quarters, through the semis, you make it into the final, and you've smashed, and you've not worked, you've not had a full-time job, you've been living with sponsor money, I guess, like you're just starting out, so you've not got like a big esports organization behind you, no one's paying you a wage, and you've just been hammering it this whole time, just trying to get to that final and win it, because you need this, like, you know, I mean, you come second, you get a lot of money as well. It's not the point though.
You want to win.
And then you never get known as the best player, even if you are the better player, because you got completely stuffed on deck choice. And that's what would happen with arena, and that's why you can't do it, not like you can with constructed.
Yeah. I think there's also something about constructed that people like to think, oh, well, I put that deck together myself, even though that never really happens anymore.
There's meta decks, but if you look at the decks in BlizzCon, they're never completely ladder meta.
That's because they are
tournament meta different,
shaped towards what will win in the tournament.
Yeah, tournament meta is different.
It just depends. So some players they'll look at the top tier decks and pick those and take those to tournaments because they are 100% on paper the strongest decks. And some players like to shape their deck around that and play counter decks. So, I mean, I like that part of Hearthstone. I think that's really interesting that people take the time to actually come up with decks that directly counter other decks.
Sorry, mate, I've been up since 6. I'm not yawning because of what you're saying.
It's all right.
I've been up since 6. Like.
So, I mean, does Hearthstone, do you think it still has an appeal to play it? Because I know you said you thought about getting back into it.
I'd love to get back into Hearthstone. I need a paycheck.
You need a paycheck.
If I'm going to get back into Hearthstone, because it's not cheap.
Mm.
It's not in any way is it cheap to jump into that game, and it's a real shame. But like, I just don't have £54 I can drop on packs.
Mm.
Like, I just don't have it. I don't. You know. And what do they want me to do? I'll spend £54 on packs now, and in 3 months they'll want another £54 off me.
Mm.
Well, the same reason I don't play Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to buy the same game with a different skin on once a year. Why would I do it every quarter? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's hard for me to find a moment where I'm actually gonna fork out the cash for Hearthstone. And I get it. As far as like playing a card game goes, it's still the cheapest one available.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not crying about the fact that it costs money to play the game. It's a card game, and if you want to call Hearthstone expensive, you should really go out and try and get into another one, Pokemon or Magic or whatever.
So there you go with it.
It's going to cost you a lot more money than Hearthstone does. But for me, I don't know. I like the game, maybe just not enough to spend that much money on it. So I have a hard time jumping back in.
I think it would be worse for. See, the flip side of what Hearthstone is now is that if you played it from beta, you know that there were adventures that they added to the game.
Yeah.
And that gave you a certain amount of content that you was paying for, and you got the cards that you needed to make your
adventures. I'm not as against adventures at all. Like, because an adventure gives me a thing to do as well. Whereas £54 or whatever it is on, what is it, 35 packs, 40 packs?
Yeah, I think it's about £35. Yeah, for 40.
Right, so £35 for 40 packs then. So 40 packs doesn't give me any content, just lets me open 40 packs. I either get what I want or I don't, and if I don't, I got to disenchant and hope I have enough dust to craft it. And it's like, you know.
Well, I think it's either
risky.
I think it's 30 or 40 packs is a guaranteed legendary, isn't it? So I mean, you could be really unlucky, get 40
just get the
packs
one.
and just get the one.
Exactly.
So, I mean, value-wise, I'd say you're right, because I mean their stance on it was, well, you've lost the adventure, but you're gaining more regular packs. So you're gaining a faster period of a transition for the meta that you're playing.
Yeah.
But then you do. I, as a player, struggle to keep up with how many releases they're dropping.
Yeah.
Compared to how much dust you get back for cards that you're getting rid of, because you know that when you construct a deck, that there's certain cards you must have and always do need, and if you don't have those, your deck's much weaker.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a part of the game that I think needs looking at again. There's you mentioned an article that we both wrote.
Yeah.
And I know you did your side, I did my side, and obviously from the games that we were most versed on.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I mentioned in the article on my side were addressed with the new patches. So
yeah, that was interesting when that happened. I remember you showing me the patch notes, and it was quite funny. Or sort of everything you'd brought up in your article 2 months prior, they'd now released patch notes with like a release schedule for these updates to come, and it was all things that you'd like requested in this article. Yeah.
So in terms of like that side of Blizzard, you can't really fault them for that. I know they've got a lot of flack in the past for holding back on patches and stuff, but they are trying to address problems that people are having.
Sorry that I'm yawning. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. So yeah, they are trying to address problems that players are having.
People always give Blizzard shit about patches, man. They do address things, so you're right. Like, I think they do their best. I think that sometimes they miss the mark, and I think that they could do a better job of admitting that they've missed the mark. They're not very good at accepting that they put out a bad patch or they made a bad change, but I think as far as like being involved and keeping your games current and trying to update them as much as you can, like Blizzard tried to stay on top of it as much as they can. I mean, look at what they're managing and the numbers that they're dealing with. Like, that can't be an easy job for anyone. Whoever has the final say, does this change go live? I mean, there's a lot of pressure on that person. Do you know what I mean? It can't be an easy job. I think people give games companies way too much stick. I remember playing a game and there being problems with it, and then the devs never changing it because the game's released now and it's over. You know, like we didn't. I can't think of a good example. We didn't all want to use the skyline in Need for Speed.
No,
but we had to because that was the only car that was going to be, that good. For example, now. That would be like, for online competitive purposes, the skyline's been balanced. That's a luxury now that I think people overlook.
I think
wasn't always there.
It's how business plans change as well. I mean, if you look at Hearthstone, I think it's the evolution of what Blizzard's property is as well. Like, WoW was their #1 game.
Yeah.
If Twitch is anything to go by, now Hearthstone is their #1 game.
Yeah, I think Hearthstone probably makes them more money than WoW now.
Yeah. So, I mean, from a business sense, it makes sense that they try and get as much out of Hearthstone as they can.
For sure. I'll tell you what's not their #1 game, Diablo. Diablo is not their #1 game.
No one picking that up.
The numbers on that game are just wrong.
It's quite a good game, though, fundamentally, isn't it? Like, if you play Diablo, it's fun.
Favorites.
Yeah.
One of my favourite games. But again, not enough new stuff. Not enough changes that will bring people back. Not enough big changes all at once. The only way to bring a player base back to that game, I think, is probably an expansion. We'll get completely off topic if we start talking about Diablo. That's a whole nother podcast.
Just to switch it.
Yeah, Diablo is a whole second podcast.
I think I'm gonna call it there, mate.
Wrap it up, yeah.
Yeah, because
that was fun.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the things that I wanted to. And,
Scott was nervous before we started.
I was extremely
very nervous.
First
the first
podcast, people.
I was really nervous. I'm still a bit nervous. I don't know how I sounded about some things.
I think in general,
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I think we covered everything that I wanted to. So,
do you reckon at any point? Sorry, we'll get better at not interrupting each other as well.
Yeah, I think that's a thing. I've tried my best. Yeah, so thank you for coming on to the show and talking with me. It is
welcome. It's been a pleasure.
It is stressful and it is scary, but we're
it's been all right.
Yeah. Two normal people talking about things we're interested in, so that aspect is those kind of things. I quite like it that we disagree about stuff as well. I think that'll be quite good for the podcast.
Yeah,
that we disagree.
Fun. Yeah. It'll be enjoyable.
But yeah, thanks for talking to me, buddy.
You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for talking to me, buddy.